Welcome back to Stevens Trains. So, long story short, I was trying to do a switching operation or, get a train built to drop off various cars at all the different industry yards that I have, which I currently have 4. As you can see, I've already completed that drop off, if you will. But I had a lot of problems with, between couplers and some power issues as far as lines that I was anticipating being able to be, the power to be killed with the switches, wasn't doing so. So again, making this long story short, I was looking through the comments, and I believe the comment that I saw about DCC was from Steve T. Left a very nice, informative comment about how I could do DCC in this layout, because for whatever reason, DCC has just been intimidating me as far as how I would do the wiring, what's needed, how much stuff, how many different parts I would need to get, and just the cost. So, he had listed out how I could use my current Kato PowerPack with the switch controllers just to control my switches, and then mentioned this guy right here. So I think since I've had so many comments about switching to DCC, I think I'm going to take the plunge. So I'm looking at ordering this kit here. So the NCE Power Cab, to convert my layout to DCC. Now I do have some questions for you guys. If you could maybe help answer some of these questions, I would appreciate it. So I know I need to run, I believe, what's called a bus wire underneath my layout. So I believe my bus wire will connect into here, and I'll just run a white and a blue wire underneath the length of my layout. So, starting somewhere over here and just running underneath the layout to the little kick out over here where it'll just end. And then I'll take all my feeders, attaching each one to the blue or the white bus system. Now, what I was thinking of doing is making my outside rail like blue, for example, and my inside rail white, and I just continue that the entire process. And I know somebody mentioned I can drop a wire, once every 3 feet, which I think would be good. And then, do I want to have one on each end of a switch? Because I have 16 switches on this line. So that's a lot of feeders. So I don't know if there's some wiggle room there. I mean, I'm not going to be having 3 or 4 trains running at once. It's mainly going to be, like a consist of 2. So 2 engines there. Yes, I see that. And maybe a yard engine running while these 2 are going about their way. So, I'm hoping I can get by with a little on the less side. Obviously, I'm going to put a lot more than 3, but I don't want to go crazy if I don't have to as far as making 1 feeder every single connector, because I don't have the funds for that, or really the time. As some people have commented, I'm working on this a lot late at night. Sometimes, past midnight, I'm out here working on this thing. So, I have to hopefully keep it reasonable. And with this also being not only my first layout, but now potentially switching to DCC, I don't want to get in over my head. So any, tips or tricks you guys can leave on that, I'd appreciate it. I don't believe I already mentioned this, but for the bus wire, what gauge wire would you guys recommend? So I was thinking of doing 16 gauge, because I did see for like a lot of people that run like a 4x8 layout, you can get away with 18 gauge. But the common size that I was seeing was 16 gauge, stepping all the way up to 14 or 12 for, massive layouts or long straightaways or what have you. So my plan was to do 16 gauge. So again, using this system here, I'm thinking all I need to get up and running is this and that bus wire, some suitcase connector or the T-type connector, so I can connect my feeders, which I'm now going to have to order a bunch of those, connect my feeders to the bus line. So I'm hoping that besides getting additional feeders, those connectors, and this system, that's all I need to get up and running, of course, minus the decoders. So I know there's like the Digitrax unit that I can get that can control 4 switches, but I'm not going to dabble with that yet. I don't have the funds for that, and I don't want to get too intimidated right out of the bat. So speaking of encoders, so I have these 2 engines here, which are the Kato EMD SD70Ms. So if somebody could help me out here, this is from Train World, looking at, these are 2 NCE drop-in decoders. So my Kato engines are DCC drop-in ready. They don't have it on board. So I believe I need to get possibly one of these decoders here. So I'm looking at the N14K2 or the N14K1. Now I'm assuming on the N14K1, so the Kato SD70 Mac, I'm assuming, you know, SD70M is short for Mac. I honestly don't know, but that seems logical, M for Mac. So I'm assuming I need 2 of these guys right here to upgrade these engines that I have. Now, this guy, I believe, was probably one of my second engines that I bought a good 8+ years ago. I don't think this is DCC ready, so I may have to ditch this guy, which would be okay. I did order, so this is the engine that I have on order right here from Train World. So it's the Atlas GP15-1. This is DCC ready, so $84.99. It's a pre-order. Right now it's going to be shipped to me sometime in March, end of March. So making this leap, the GP15 is not the one that I wanted to get. I really wanted to go after the GP40 because this was actually the very first engine that I had bought used at a train show. And I ended up selling it because it had the Rapido couplers on it, and with how much I paid for that engine and how much the couplers were and my lack of skill and knowledge, I just kicked the unit as well as all the Rapido stock that I bought and went with Kato engines at that time that I just started collecting to just sit in the box and collect dust until 8+ years later when I'm finally building a layout. So anyhow, like I mentioned, I had this one on ordered. I'm thinking about canceling this and going with the one that I wanted to get, which was the GP40. Apologize, you can't read that here. So this is the Atlas GP40, DCC equipped with sound. So obviously it's, double the cost, but it's ready to go. So do you guys think this would be the way to go, or should I stick with this guy and get a decoder to throw in there? I guess those are some options. So let me know your guys' thoughts. Anyhow, I'm excited and nervous about making this change of my layout here, but with all the problems that I was having, though, I'm assuming I could probably correct by moving this feeder, because I was having, as I stated previously, this is always hot now, so I can't shut this down like I anticipated, but I did not anticipate my passing lane having the same problem, even though I don't have any feeders near it except this guy. So I don't know why power is going from here to here continuously, even when the switches are thrown. So that is eluding me. So anyhow, just listening or reading the comments, doing the operation that I did the other night and looking at that, and I think I'm just ready to make the switch. But Any helpful tips and advice you guys can give me, I greatly appreciate. So I'm going to pause my building as far as doing scenery or whatnot until I rewire for DCC. Fingers crossed. Thanks for watching.